What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Happy Thanksgiving from your favorite hockey podcast here in South Florida, the Cats and Bolts. Good on you. 3, 2, 1.
Nice work. Throw some shrimp on the barbie, Ben. And happy Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving Eve, everybody. We are live on the Cats and Bolts podcast, Florida's #1 and favorite hockey show, coming to you from the Podcast Junkie Studios. Producer Ben is with us. He'll be jumping behind the mic later on in the program, but we got to jump right into it. It's Season 3, Episode 9. The viewers have asked for him, and we've got him. The ageless, the peerless Jeff DeForest, you know him better as DeFo, joining us via Zoom on the Cats and Bolts podcast today. DeFo, what's up, my guy?
Hey, it's great to be with you. Had a little bit of confusion. I actually thought that this was a Zoom call about a job interview with another guy.
Sorry to break your heart. Sorry, man.
I'm seeing all of these texts coming from you, and I'm like, what is Ron talking about? And so it's great. It's even better because I'd rather do this any day than go to some job interviews. So,
Okay. Well, Miami sports radio legend Jeff DeForest is with us on a Panthers game day and a Lightning game day as we go live on Wednesday on a live stream. Don't let us down, everybody. You asked for DeFo. We got him. So let's get some live viewer questions here as we go live on YouTube and various other platforms. But the Panthers are home to the Flyers tonight. The Lightning are home to the Flames. We're brought to you by Unbridled Weddings and Events in Wellington. Give Bree a call if you're having a wedding in South Florida. Voted top 10 wedding planners in the USA. Coolbet.com and itixnow.com, brand new sponsor to the RP show. But DeFo, how does it feel to know that our Cats and Bolts viewers have been asking for you for quite some time now to get on the show?
All I can say is shoot the puck, Kozlov. Because that's what we used to yell all the time at the arena. It's interesting that you have the wedding planner as a sponsor. I'm going to have to take you up on that because right now I'm 0 for 3 with a walk in weddings, so I probably could use some better planning. Remarkable season, though, and it's a great day in the NHL. I guess the question would be, I'm thinking Edmonton is one team that's not playing tonight. Who is the other team that's not playing? Because I saw there were 15 games scheduled. National Hockey League. All but 2 teams playing, and the Stars who played last night in the lone game against the Edmonton Oilers, which, by the way, a buddy of mine, a handicapper who loves to handicap pucks, was all over the Stars in a revenge game after. That's some schlep when you have to play Tampa and then the Panthers in South Florida and head back to Edmonton. We've seen this for the last couple of years in the NHL Finals. And he thought that was going to tire out the Edmonton Oilers, even though they've been showing signs of life. And sure enough, 8-3 the final there. So nice, easy score. But wow, what a great day for the National Hockey League the day before Thanksgiving turns out to be.
Well, but then no games on Thanksgiving. So clearly this is the NHL deferring to the National Football League, right?
Well, the NBA is getting involved in this also. They had a nice 3-game schedule that begins at 5 o'clock. Probably discretion being a better part of valor. I think taking over this Wednesday probably was a good move on the part of the National Hockey League. And it's been an interesting start to the season. I'm sure you've been analyzing it in great detail. But Panthers are very, very surprising. I couldn't have been any more wrong. I think I mentioned this last time I was on a show about a year ago, that I could not have misjudged Paul Maurice any more badly than I did. I thought you're looking at a guy with the most losses in NHL history. I guess he's right up there in number of wins. Is he second overall in number of wins all time?
Yes, he is now, yep.
Okay, so is Scotty Bowman still the number 1 guy?
He is, who is chilling in Sarasota, Florida, by the way, and goes to the odd Tampa Bay Lightning game. I ran into him last year at the Lightning Panthers playoff game. But let me, DeFo, you jump right into this. I don't know if you're reading my diary or maybe it's just you and I are mental telepathy, but I have written down here, where will Paul Maurice go down in the pantheon of South Florida sports icons in your mind now with 2 Stanley Cup wins and maybe more to come?
Interesting. I was talking about this the other day on another show that we have, and there was a period of time not long ago, it seems like it was yesterday, but I guess it might have been 25 years or so ago, where everybody thought we had the Mount Rushmore of coaches here with all of our teams, and that included the University of Miami. We had Jimmy Johnson coaching the Miami Dolphins. You had Jim Leland was managing the Marlins. Doug McClain had taken over for Roger Nielsen, coaching the Florida Panthers, and had great success early on. So he was kind of included in this illustrious spectrum of coaches that we had. And, of course, the great Pat Riley was coaching the Heat. And I'm looking at who we have currently. Mike McDaniel, a huge question mark. A lot of people were calling for his dismissal. He may end up distinguishing himself by getting the team in the playoffs because they have a real soft schedule coming up, but hardly the caliber of a Jimmy Johnson this far. And McCullough, who just took over 1 year, great job with the Florida Marlins, but not in the same league as Jimmy Leland, who was very accomplished. But then you look at Eric Spoelstra, and many people feel he's the best coach in basketball, maybe anywhere in the world, and worthy of being mentioned in the same context as Pat Riley. And if you look at Paul Maurice, I mean, who's done a better job than this guy? 3 straight Stanley Cup finals and 2 straight championships. And what he's doing with this team, without Barkov, Sasha's been out and likely not to play the whole season. I don't know. I guess there was some speculation he might be available later on. And no Tkachuk, the heart and soul of the team for the last couple of years. And a host of other injuries, including this oddball one where Lustarin ends up getting burnt in a barbecue accident. I was thinking, I hope he wasn't frying a turkey for Thanksgiving. We wish him all the best. But in spite of all that, they're off to an excellent start. The Brad Marchand pickup turned out to be fantastic. He was playing great hockey and really propelling them to whatever success they were having. And now they're on a streak. You have to give all the credit in the world to Paul Maurice. So I would say he's writing an incredible legacy and is worthy of mention with anybody who's ever coached here. And that includes legendary people like Howard Schnellenberger, Don Shula, and so many others. Paul Maurice is right up there. And as I said, I completely misjudged him. I thought he was kind of a nondescript schmenk sort of guy that just had a 500 record and was another one of those coaches that was going to kind of be mired in mediocrity for a long period of time, as the Panther organization was. But they get rid of Dale Talon. They bring in Bill Zito, and Paul Maurice was his man. And I couldn't have been any more on the opposite end of being right about judging him, because he turns out to be not only a great coach, but an extremely interesting gentleman as well.
Oh, highly intelligent, a tremendous person. We think you'll find it. In DeFo, you've been around the hockey game, covering it. Most hockey people are that. But just so you know, you're not alone. I heard that everywhere when they hired Paul Maurice, and I was just because he hadn't won a Stanley Cup. People were like, what are we hiring him for? He's never won before. And I'm like, can you just hold on? I heard it everywhere. And I'm glad you brought up Shula and Schnellenberger, because there's statues of these guys. And that's where I think Pomo's going.
He's been terrific and a lot of fun. He just seems to know how to motivate players and allow them to go out there and do their thing. And he doesn't seem like he's one of those guys that's too over the top, but at the same time, he's no pushover. And he's been a perfect mix. I think one of the real keys, and we're seeing a lot of this in sports, you see it a lot in football, where the general manager and the coach are going in different directions. And one guy has to go, according to people, and the other guy is lucky if he sticks around, and you never know which one it's going to be. It happened with the Miami Dolphins this year, as they fire their general manager and they keep the coach. But clearly there was some kind of disparity there between the direction that they were both going in with Chris Greer and Mike McDaniel. Zito and Paul Maurice have talked about this, and supposedly, I know you would know this better than I would, because you're a lot closer to the team right now than I have been, but they say they talk every day, that they spend whatever number of hours they have in terms of free time talking about hockey and how to make the team better and what direction to take it in and what they need to do to tweak things up. And this has been one of those symbiotic relationships between coach and GM that maybe is as good and effective as any we've seen recently in sports, and maybe even if they continue to do this for a couple of more years, maybe even all time.
Well, the reason the Panthers were voted the top front office in the NHL in a poll at The Athletic, I believe, is a quote came out in the article that said Bill Zito runs the team the way we would all run it if we had a chance to. He saw Paul Maurice was available, called him, and went and got him. None of this having a parade of interviews and candidates. He wanted Paul Maurice, went and got him, and boom, it's a match made in heaven, which, by the way, we call ourselves the Cats and Bolts show. As you know, I got the Lightning Zamboni over my shoulder. Across on the West Coast, as Floridians call it, John Cooper with Tampa Bay's won 2 Stanley Cups. He is a living Hall of Famer as well. Have you been keeping an eye on the Lightning at all, by the way? Because they're in first place in the division. And a week ago when we did this show, they had the final wild card spot, final playoff spot. That's how crazy and tight it is in the NHL right now.
I've always admired what they've done in Tampa Bay. And I think I mentioned this to you at least more than once. I happened to be there when they were announcing that they were going to get an expansion team. And Esposito was in charge, and I'll never forget this. I was covering this. It was called Sunshine Network at the time. Now it's FanDuel TV. It had gone through other changes. It was Fox Sports for a little while. But I was one of the original producers of content for these guys from South Florida, and they would send us over to Tampa whenever they had things to do over there. So, but we were at this press conference, and the whole time, all anybody was talking about was, is there Japanese money involved? Is there any Japanese money? And Espo was saying, as if he was standing right in front of the net there, about to go ahead and slap one in or tip in a shot. He's very confidently stating, no Japanese money here. And they stick a shovel in the ground to inaugurate and initiate the construction of the stadium and symbolize the beginning of the franchise. And then 5 minutes later, everybody's at some Japanese restaurant eating sushi. It was...
You did tell me that story, and you can tell me that story 100 times. I love it. I was just with a guy last night who told me he used to date Phil Esposito's daughter. I'm like, I don't want to hear the story. Say no more. I'm still sitting here trying to figure out who's not playing. The Oilers are one. I don't know the other one, DeFo, but I'm an idiot. I don't know who the other team that isn't playing tonight. Like I say, the Panthers and the Flyers and the Lightning and the Flames. By the way, just for a snapshot, for those that don't know, I got DeFo on, and so gracious for you to come on. The viewers have been asking for you. But for those that don't know, for maybe our Canadian viewers or out-of-market viewers, just give me a thumbnail, if you don't mind, of your career here, because you said you came in 81 from L.A., am I right?
1981, I got started in Los Angeles. I always wanted to be a sports writer. I started out at a very, very small newspaper. Remember driving to the office. It was in Fontana, California, which was about 60 miles east of Los Angeles. And I thought at the time I was waiting tables in some restaurants. I was making really good money. I was at some very successful, high-profile places. And I was looking around. I thought, well, I nothing against it. All work is good work. But I really didn't want to end up being an old waiter. I was working with a team of guys that had been doing it for a lifelong profession. I thought I need to get started somewhere. So I ended up in Fontana, California, eventually gravitated closer to L.A. at another newspaper. What was good about it, though, was you had the opportunity to cover everything. So I was covering the Lakers. I was covering the L.A. Kings, and they had Rogie Vachon in goal at the time, and Marcel Dion was the center of that great line that they featured. And they didn't have great success, oddly, until later on when Bruce McNell, who turned out to be a complete fraud, ended up taking over the team. But he did one good thing. He brought him Wayne Gretzky, and then the Kings became somewhat significant. But I was working in a radio station in Los Angeles, and a guy told me if I really wanted to make it and become a mainstream guy in a big market, I should move to Miami. So I did in 1981. I got a job right away. He told me I'd be able to walk into a station and probably get a job off the streets. I did. I started at 940 Wins, and after about 44 years in the business, that's where my terrestrial radio career ended. Was also at 940 Wins, but I did a lot of TV in between. I got a chance to call boxing all around the world as a blow-by-blow guy. Had a chance to work very closely with the Hurricanes organization, Miami Hurricanes, doing play-by-play on baseball and basketball, a lot of pre- and post-game shows, and, of course, always affiliated with the Miami Dolphins as well. So real good ride, and it continues here with programs like this. It's nice to see that people can continue doing their thing, as you have with these brilliant podcasts and streaming and using the services of a place like Podcast Junkies, which is always the first place that anybody mentions when they say they're doing a podcast. And you say, well, where are you doing it? Out of your house? And no, Podcast Junkies. And they do a great job there. So it's a pleasure to be on with you guys and return to the program here, Cats and Bolts.
Well, so happy to have you as part of it. And like I say, the viewers asking for DeFo. We got him. Ben has written in, another Ben, the other Ben. Ben Cobb says, happy Thanksgiving, Rod. Same to you, Ben. Hope to see you at the game tonight. Kelly writes in, she's in Tampa Bay. She says, hi, Rod from Tampa. Here to cheer on Uyghur and the Flames tonight. Former Florida Panther Mackenzie Uyghur is over in Tampa tonight with the visiting Calgary Flames. I'll ask you this before I let you go, DeFo. You, number one, outdoor games. When I first came here 5 years ago, it was but a dream. Nobody even dared dream that there would be outdoor NHL games played in Florida. Now we got 2 coming up in the new year. Did you ever think you'd see the day?
Well, the old joke was when the Florida Panther organization was first being discussed as a possibility, and it seemed very far-fetched. And you've heard the joke, no doubt, many, many times, that the only ice that you'll ever see in South Florida is at the bottom of a glass. And that seemed like it was going to be the case. I remember going to one of the games they put on at the old Miami Arena, and I believe Gretzky was involved with the LA Kings. I'm not sure if it was 1 or 2 games that they had to try and test the market out a little bit. And you thought, well, this is really unlikely to happen. And it was sort of a surprise. A lot of people were sort of taken back when it actually officially became announced that they were going to get an expansion franchise here. And, of course, later on, shortly after, you had the Tampa Bay Lightning. And it was really suspect. I mean, many people thought Gary Bettman was out of his mind, that the NHL was really making a tragic mistake by expanding into southern cities. We did see the franchise flame out in Atlanta, literally. But the 2 franchises here really did well. I mean, early on, the Panthers had that center ice trap, which everybody hated with Roger Nielsen, but really a great achievement. There were a bunch of grinders with Scott Mellenby, who I had an interview with over the summer. What a brilliant guy to talk hockey with he is. And, of course, Bill Lindsay's still involved with the organization. And we love watching those guys. And when they made that march to the Stanley Cup Finals with the great goaltending that they got, it was absolutely fantastic. The Bees are, of course, was a symbol of the franchise. And who would have expected that within 3 years they'd be in the Stanley Cup Finals? They did get smoked by the Avalanche that year. They had a great team. But nonetheless, I'm so happy that we finally got hockey here. And it's taken off. We went through that 20-year malaise. So great thanks to Bill Zito and Paul Maurice for putting us on the map and making us a championship caliber team. And what's been more fun than these postseason celebrations? And the same thing over in Tampa. I was in Tampa doing some work remember when they got swept out of the first round after winning the President's Trophy?
Yep.
And the stunned silence that was going on all around town, what was a little hard to take, but it was also a reflection of the fact that the Tampa area had taken very well to hockey. So 2 cities that you never thought were going to see the sport flourish, both with championships. And how jealous are they in New York and Boston and Toronto and Montreal and some of these other places that hockey really is a strong entity here in the state of Florida?
Extremely jealous. The answer is extremely jealous, to the point that there's still, if there's ever any empty seats at a Panthers game, they're tweeting them, sending them out and trying to make Florida look bad as a non-hockey market. I'm like, it's over, guys. That's not a thing anymore. Last one, DeFo, because I know we're going to let you go because you got another show coming up with the Bleacher Boys. But I want to know, what is your view on Gary Bettman? Because as long as there's been an NHL team here, Gary Bettman's been the commissioner. He has a home here in Boca. He's a big fan of, obviously, Florida NHL hockey. How do you view Gary Bettman and his legacy?
Most commissioners are seen in a very dim light. You would say that's probably universal. Roger Goodell, he's always talking about the fans and how the game is for the fans, and then he'll have a playoff game at nighttime in Kansas City when it's 50 below, and people's fingers are literally being frozen off, and he had the PSLs and all this other stuff. Adam Silver started out as a very favorable guy. I think people still like him, but his image has been tarnished a little bit, as we've seen that he's sold out to entities that before he would have just completely turned his back on. Man, there's sneakers in China and all of this other stuff. And Brad Manford, the baseball commissioner, every idea he comes up, people knock it as being a bad one. Of the 4 sports, or the 4 pro sports, it seemed like Gary Bettman was the most despised and disliked. It's almost a joke, like a cliche, when they boo Goodell when he gets up there on draft day and makes the original announcement. But Gary Bettman, I think, is booed in his own household. But I'll give him this. I mean, the league, and you are well aware of this, and all of your hockey fans and viewers are probably well aware. I mean, didn't it seem like the NBA at one time, going back into the late 70s, early 80s, what was literally on the brink of disaster? And looked like the financial arrangements that they had were just swimming in seas of red ink. So to see the way they've expanded and prospered, and the attendance now, and it's a more viable television sport, they have better contracts there. Seems like the players and the owners are in pretty mutual accord. You don't see a lot of labor disputes since the last strike. Seems like everybody's on the same page. So as much as Bettman is seen as kind of a little rat-faced weasel, I would have to say he hasn't done a bad job, because this wasn't the easiest of sells. It was probably the fourth in the four sports in terms of being mainstream. And to see the way the league has prospered and enjoyed a lot of success all around the country and also in Canada, I have to say Bettman's actually done a pretty good job, even though he seemed like such an unlikable figure.
Yeah, well, I think the perfect illustration of what he's done. Look at Vincent Viola when he bought the team, which I think was 2013. I'll have the numbers a little wrong here, but it was like $250 million he paid, and it's the Panthers are now valued at $2.5 billion.
That's sweet too.
Pretty good example. You know, and the players' salaries have skyrocketed too. So he's made everybody money. What's wrong with that? DeFo, we've reached the end of our time. I hope the viewers enjoyed it. I know I certainly have, and hopefully we can do it again soon. Happy Thanksgiving.
All right, thanks very much. I hope you have a great holiday, and all of your viewers out there, and of course Ben at Podcast Junkies. And anytime, I was hoping that we could do this on a regular basis. I ended up having a show conflict with the time, so anytime I'd be happy to join you, and I'd love to get in the studio with you and do it again real soon.
Thanks, DeFo. Great job. I wholeheartedly concur. Jeff DeForest joining us on Cats and Bolts this week. Legendary Miami sports talk host, 40 years. Okay. He mentioned him. He mentioned Ben, and Ben is here as we put the finishing touches on this thing. Eric's running the ship. I feel like we're sitting at NBC. We got the whole crew going on. There's Ben.
Hey, what's up, ladies and gentlemen, Cats and Bolts?
This is literally not your debut, but it's your debut up here.
Yeah, kind of, right? This is my first time around the table. It kind of feels good over here. I like it.
You're on a lot of shows. Listen, tell everybody, like, DeFo just gave you the best commercial ever. Did you hear what he said?
I didn't even get to hear it.
He was like, everybody knows the place for podcasts in South Florida is Podcast Junkies. He goes, every time he mentions it, everybody knows what it is. So, that's from DeFo, and you didn't even pay him, I don't think.
No, I didn't. I mean, we've been doing a lot of good things here. We've been making a lot of great content for actually some influencers, celebrities. I mean, we're doing some things here that, I mean, and average Joe as well. Like, anybody's welcome here. We just have a good vibe, I think. You fit with us. If we like working with each other, then we'll make it happen. I mean, we just got some tea from St. James. I don't know if you have tried it yet.
See that. Not yet, no.
That was
not a big tea guy, but maybe I should start.
Yeah, maybe try a little bit, but that was kind of cool. So, yeah, it's been a lot of fun, and I'm really proud of all the hard work that I've done is actually kind of like taking off a little bit.
Well, we're proud to be part of it, and we're the second podcast here.
Yep.
The first is Scott and the boys.
Yeah, TK. Get the edge with Scott. We got TK and we got Teddy Brooks.
It was under another name. That's why you were.
Yes, exactly.
But right. I got to say this about DeFo. Because I've only been here 5 years, but everybody's DeFo this, DeFo that, DeFo that. And one day you were here. He was walking into the studio. Your guy, Mark. I don't know, is he still involved, Mark?
No.
Okay. Well, at one time he was.
Yeah, he was.
Here.
Yep.
He pretty much dropped to his knees and started worshiping DeFo in the street. I'm like, what the hell?
Oh, it was crazy. I was so blown away at that, actually, because he's like, I used to listen to him and me and my son every day. We'd drive to school, and and I was like, oh, okay.
It's like, guy, down boy. He's almost humping his leg almost.
Exactly, yeah. So I was a little, but DeFo's a great, I mean, he has an amazing reputation. Honestly,
yes.
He has an amazing voice for this. Like he projects very well. I know everyone's like, oh, I got a face for radio.
Well, there's a reason he had the longevity that he did. But so Ben is on this side of the camera. We don't have him to read the comments. Although, Eric, can you throw yourself on and read that last comment that came in?
Ooh, we gotta.
It's not. It's nice. From A-Train, my guy Adrian.
All right, let's see.
Go to that wide shot.
Training on the job here. There we go.
All right.
There's
A-Train.
Eric, everybody, with a
Happy
C.
Thanksgiving, Rod. You are the man.
Ooh.
Hey, nice. Well, that's from A-Train 87. Adrian Rainey. He hosts the Rainy Day Pod. And it's funny because he started doing some Panthers talk, but they've centered basically now mostly on the Dolphins. And he just goes, you guys have the Panthers locked down. He's like, you guys are the Panthers show. He's like, I don't even want to. So they brush on it, but I appreciate A-Train for saying that and for the viewers that come here every week
We
to talk
appreciate you,
NHL hockey.
A-Train. We appreciate you. Keep sending people our way. We'll send them your way.
Okay,
That's
well,
it.
I'm not going to belabor this too much longer. We had a wonderful podcast here with DeFo. We talked Lightning, we talked Panthers, we talked it all. And I don't want to hold you up from getting on the road. Tell the folks what your Thanksgiving, if you can.
Yeah. I'm heading up, see my family up in St. Augustine, so that'll be really nice. I'm cooking Thanksgiving dinner for them, so everyone's like, you're doing so much, and then you're going up there to cook, and I'm like, yeah, I sometimes cooking for me is like a little stressful. Like nobody talks to me. I'm there just chopping. I'm in my zone. I'm doing all that. So, but we're all gonna be good family time, and I'm looking forward to a well-deserved break for.
Well, good for you. And by the way, I should tell you now. Well, A-Train writes in, he says, the best hockey podcast. Thank you, Eden. Here, buttering us up here. Thank you, A-Train. And by the way, he's the go-to for South Florida sports podcast as well. It's outstanding. The Rainy Day podcast. You should check it out. But TK on his way out of the studio here from Get the Edge podcast, he was like, what are you doing? And I said, I'm going to Canada Friday for a week. So just so you know, next week's show will be Zoom.
Okay.
I'll be from up there.
Cool.
I'm not sure who we'll have in here yet, but I'm going up there for business for a week to Canada and freeze my butt off. So Pray for me.
I will. And I think that's also just so cool how we can do that. Like you go remote and then you just say, hey, just meet Ben at the studio at, at this time and get it. Yeah, I think that's really cool.
Making things happen.
What are you doing up in Canada?
I'm doing corporate. It's a Canadian thing. It's called sports banquets. They don't really do them here. Well, Palm Beach Kennel Club does it up in West Palm, but people buy tickets and come see me and sports celebrities speak up there. Yeah, so I've got the former head coach of the Chicago Blackhawks coming to one, Lauren Mulliken, and some football guys, and that's what we do.
That's going to be awesome.
700-800 people show up in a room and hear us tell sports stories. So I'm doing 2 of them up there and then coming back.
Rod, that's awesome. That's going to be a lot of fun. Is there a way to tune in? Like, do people
No. As a matter of fact, I've done so many of these. No, a lot have said, do you mind if we stream this? And I'm like, I do, because you're not going to get the best show, because the guys will start worrying about what they say.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? So basically, it's like Kevin Hart. If you're seen with your cell phone out at a Kevin Hart show, they take it they'll kick you out.
Really?
Yeah. It's like you got to buy a ticket to come and be there and enjoy it. No streaming. Yeah,
I didn't know that.
It's kind of old school.
Yeah,
actually very old school.
It's 100% old school, but hey, you go into, unless it's an emergency, but at the same time, like, pay the respect. It's like you go to a theater.
Well, it's sort of like just put your phone away.
Yeah,
that's all we're asking, and it's like, don't tell any stories, and you'll get the really good stuff.
I like
from
that.
The old school.
That's still. I think that also means a little bit more of exclusivity, right? Like you're like there. Only the people that get there get to hear the. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, well, it's funny because I used to do these every weekend, year round for years, and then COVID came and just kicked the crap out of that industry because we couldn't have gatherings, right? So it's just now, believe it or not, coming back. But anyways, you didn't care for that. You tuned in for NHL hockey. We've done that talk. Thank you, Ben. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving to you.
All right, buddy.
I'll
Thanks
see
for all
you
you
soon.
do.
Of course.
Yeah. And you too, Eric, with a CK. And we'll see you all next week here on Cats and Bolts.
Oh, headshot!
I forgot.
That's good.